Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. This is the first open office hours of 2026, and I am not with my usual presenter. Today I have Kim White.
So I'm the unusual presenter.
The unusual presenter.
Yes, thank you.
We're giving Kim Coleman a break, actually, for a lot of this quarter. I will have different people from the team joining me instead of Kim Coleman. So that'll be interesting.
There are other people on the team.
There are. It is not just Kim Coleman and I. Believe it or not.
Yep.
But like I said, it is the new year. This is the first one of 2026. Kim has been developing, building, maintaining websites for, did you say over 20 years?
Over 1999.
So she has plenty of experience of yearly cleanup, things that you should be possibly looking at even more than once a year, but definitely, without a doubt, check these things at least once a year. We're going to dive into all of the different things that are critical to the maintenance of your site, to the revenue of your membership, and we're really going to dive into what specifically needs to happen in Paid Memberships Pro.
Right. I'd like to tell customers, so I came from before WordPress, and then mostly the type of customers I had HTML sites, and anytime they needed a change or anything, it was all, you had to do it in HTML, and everything was what we call static. But when you're working with WordPress, you have a dynamic living thing. And I used to try to compare it to like, well, it's like if you brought fake flowers or live flowers in your house. Fake flowers will look nice, but they'll get dusty and they'll start to look a little old, where live ones are great to have, but you have to water them, you have to weed them, you have to take care of them. And that's how having a WordPress site is. You have to take care of it or it'll die.
Yes.
Good.
And so we're going to dive into all of the things to make sure it stays living.
Yes.
And healthy.
And healthy.
Site health is a thing.
Yes. So who's starting?
Well, the first thing that we have is some critical ways to protect your revenue and security. And so the first one that you have on our list is talking about backups and where you find those, what they do, and why they're so important.
So backups could be their whole episode. They could be their own podcast. They're done so many different ways and by different hosts and different users. But as a site owner, especially if you don't have a developer, or if you do have a developer, there's three things you want to make sure and have known. You want to make sure they're running. So whether you need to check in with your developer or your host, make sure you have backups, make sure they're including the correct data. With Paid Memberships Pro, you really want to make sure your database is backed up. I would say depending on how active your site is, but at least daily, because if something were to happen, that's information is changing all the time. If people are subscriptions have paid, if they have invoices, that's very active, and that how to restore them. So I see people with backup plans, they have a backup plugin, but they have no idea how to restore it. So this would be a good time to either refresh or find out how that would happen. If something needed to happen, who do you contact? We can't go into this deeper because, like I said, there's hundreds of solutions for this, but it's something to evaluate now and maybe work up an SOP around. We like the word SOP. What does it mean?
Standard operating procedure. If people do not know. But yes, I am the queen of SOPs.
Right. So they make sure they include the right data and that they can be restored. So that would be the first thing for any site, especially your membership site, once again, which is live and active.
I think it's also important to take note of, yes, make sure they run, but also make sure you know how you can manually run one in case you're doing something on your site. As far as like a big change goes, like one thing that Kim White and I were talking internally this week about was, for a personal project of mine, I was trying to change everybody's expiration date with import member from CSV, and she said, make sure you back it up before you do it. Because that's information that if I was to mess up, I need to be able to restore what was already done at that last backup time.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention is we now offer PMPro hosting. PMPro hosting is built for membership sites. We do have daily backups, and we do have ways for you to restore it. So we know exactly what data you need in that backup, where it is, and how to restore it.
Wonderful. Yes, that is key. Usually that's the kind of information site owners find when something bad happens.
Yes.
But you want to be proactive on that. We can move on because there's a lot more to go on.
Yeah, next is payment gateway settings. Reviewing those.
So there's a lot going on with the gateways. If you have been using Paid Memberships Pro for over 2 years, you've noticed that there's a few gateways that we're no longer supporting, and we're very much recommending that people move their users on. But the other thing is you just want to look at that page, and this is probably more than once a year, and make sure your connection is still valid. Usually Paid Memberships Pro, especially for gateways that have webhooks like Stripe, will show an error if something's not right. You want to have that correct because webhooks are how your gateway is talking to your site. So if for some reason that gets messed up, if you've moved to another host, if you've included a new security system, you might find that all of a sudden they stop working because you have to configure it to work nice. So yes, checking out your gateways. If you have one of those deprecated ones, we highly recommend moving on. We have documentation of how best practices for encouraging users to a new gateway. And then it's in live mode. This doesn't happen much, but every once in a while I'll have a customer launch a site and not get out of test mode.
I may or may not have done that on my personal project. So yes, that's important. Make sure you're in live mode when your site is live.
Right. And do live tests. So sometimes people would have been testing in, with test mode, which works in a lot of cases very seamlessly, the same as live would. But every once in a while they go live and all of a sudden it's not working. So
we'll demonstrate that in a few minutes of how you can do a test like that.
That comes up. Yes, that comes up. I'll be quiet.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be next. Okay. Or not next, but it'll come up.
It'll be come up.
And then if everybody's familiar with Coding with Sam, or if you're not, there might be code recipes that you add to your site. And some of those code recipes may become obsolete when core plugin updates happen.
Yes. So usually this is with a major update, but it can be with smaller ones. If you're running code recipes, and I have seen sites where people can have 20 or more, and I would say a lot of the time they're fine, they're straight out of the box, they're working. But if something has changed, if we have moved to a better way of doing it, a new filter, that may work for a little bit, but at one time they may time out. So I would review your recipes, especially your ones that have to do with checking out, adjusting pricing in some way. I know we have roles and emails here, but the checkout process. We don't like to talk about taxes, but if you have a custom code running taxes and all of a sudden you don't feel like it's calculating correctly, you want to be following up those things. If you have any questions about that, our support team can help you. If you were given a code recipe, it's always best to share the recipe you were originally given, and then you can compare. And if you look at a recipe, quite often there's dates of it being changed. So I would keep those on hand, because then you could see, oh, this recipe was updated. Does this apply to me?
Yeah, absolutely. The code recipes can be tricky too. And the other thing is, the Quilting Guild that I'm a part of, they use a code recipe that they turn on in June or July, but it's important that gets turned off in January. So
this would be another
some
thing for an SOP.
timely.
Have an SOP about your recipe, especially if you're not always going to be the person working on the site. Having documentation of what those recipes are. If you're using a custom plugin, if you're using the code snippet, both of them will allow you to leave notes in some way. So always leave notes for
those breadcrumbs that I talk about in Coding with Sam all the time.
Especially, so this is one thing that I don't do anymore, but if you have it customized, if you've put your customizations in your theme file, quite often they can be forgotten. So either don't do that, or if you need, make sure it's documented, because if that theme changes, they're going to go away.
Yep. Okay. So next, auditing your member accounts and what all of that entails.
Yes. So let me see here for a second. So should I share my screen? Because we were going to walk through some little things. I have a site. It's not that busy. So if you've been using Paid Memberships Pro for a while, or even if not, you know that one thing that happens is when anybody checks out, a user is created, even if checkout isn't completed and they haven't paid, which is fine because a user does not have access to your protected content. Protected content is only accessible by members if you've built your site correctly. But what I'm going to share here, okay, it worked.
As soon as I see it, I'll bring it up into the.
Yeah, I know. It worked during practice. I'm slow. So I have my site here, my Pixel Chutzpah. Is it a good size? There we go. So if you're on your members list, and again, if you have not seen these tabs, these are great tabs, you can see all the members who are active on your site. So I have 21 active members on my site, but you may go over to users and you may see, oh, I have 35 users. That may be on purpose. You may have admins who don't have a membership level, but it may be like, oh, why do I have that? So a couple things you can do is you can review people. So sometimes it might be somebody who had a level at one time, but they just have canceled or expired. So even in your user view, you can go to edit member and everybody has an entry there. And I can see they don't have a letter, but I see they have a history. So I want to keep them because personally, they're valuable to me because they may come back. But if I find that there's people who never went through checkout, who don't have any reason for being there, they were added for some other reason, I might want to delete them. Do know that if you delete users, they're gone. There's no trash can for users. So you do what you need to do, but don't do it if you have any question whether you need that person or not. Because once you delete, if I were to delete Ann Daniels here, her information would be gone. Even if she came back, it would not be connected to her again.
Which means any membership history you have, orders, the email, all of it. So if you try to do like a win back campaign and Ann is no longer a member, if you were to delete Ann, you would not be able to reach Ann for that win back campaign.
So, but however, here is something, and I meant to do this with our account. So if you've ever used our support and needed our text to help, there's going to be an info at Paid Memberships Pro account if we had to go into your site. Once our tech support or other tech support is done helping you, they do not need that admin access anymore. So if I'm going in my site and I see Ann Daniels, oh my goodness, she hasn't been a member she hasn't been working on the site for years, but she still has admin access. I have one of two options. I can delete her. Once again, we said that, but that's very, very permanent. Or I can go to edit user. I know it's there, which I'm pretty sure is just that. And I can give them a different level. So I'm just going to give them the default subscriber, or you could give them no role, but just so they're going to stay on my site, but now they can't log into my backend anymore. So that would be a good thing to review. You might find that during development you had a lot of people in there and now you want to kick them out. There's also different levels. If somebody's just writing posts, you can make them an editor, then they're not going to have access. So it's a good thing to go in and just make sure there's not people with access to your site who shouldn't have it anymore. Another thing, and we don't have this on our sheet, if you don't do this already, I would use something that made everybody change their password. I believe people should be changing their passwords at least every 6 months or a year. But that's me. Not everybody does that. But that is something that you can do. I think there's a plugin that can be added, and then you could click it and it would send an email to all the users and say, it's time to change your password.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, I like that.
Keep things secure.
By default, just again, roles. By default, all your paid membership pro members will be subscribers. That is the role they get. It really doesn't give them much access or anything. Roles are all about what we call capabilities, and those are things people can do on the site. Paid memberships pro is about content and what people can see, not really what people can do, if that makes a difference. And I just confused everybody.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
But I mean, the conversation of users and members could also be a whole open office hours. So
yes, it could. It could. Were you going to bring up
keep this?
the?
Yes, there's a couple questions in the comments.
Okay.
And yeah, I will talk about that as well.
Okay.
So Joanne is wanting to know what might be happening if a user's created, but a member is not created, even though they signed up for a membership and Stripe processed the payment.
That is most likely Stripe not able to talk to your site. So the user is created. I'm assuming there's an order created also. And let me see, let me go to my orders. So you're going to see an order, most likely token. And if that's the person, probably what happened is your webhooks are not correct. Or something is blocking them, because when a person checks out, the user gets created, the order gets created, they go to the gateway, and then the gateway writes back and says, okay, this person paid. Once this is marked paid, they're assigned their membership level. So you want to review that information. And we have documentation on the site.
Yeah, and if you can't get that figured out, definitely reach out to us either via support or our contact form, and we can help you troubleshoot it a little bit more.
I can show you one little secret thing. Okay, so sometimes if I have a user that's happening to, and it's like the webhooks are set up, everybody says webhooks are fine. And this is where you would go, Stripe, edit settings. I have a test one, of course. Your webhooks look like this. Now, these are usually created dynamically when you connect, but every once in a while you have to do them manually. But if you want to be sure they're working like that, they're accessible, you can copy this line, paste it, and you should get this message. If for any reason that's blocked, it could be some security on your hosting or security on your site. So that's just another direction you can look in.
That is a secret thing. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not 100%, but like if you can't get to that, your site is blocking, and that needs to be accessible, at least to your gateway. So.
Gotcha. Joanne, you said you reached out several times. Was that via our support or our contact page? I am curious about that, and I will definitely want to follow up there with you offline. So just let us know, and then if you could just kind of put an email in with the attention of Sam, I will make sure that we get you assistance. And then Ryan has a question of, do you guys suggest a user cleanup process for users who had memberships, but they were from a long time ago? I imagine this is something that would need to be disclosed in a policy or something.
This is going to be unique for everybody. If you're a free member of our site, we recently did purge a number of free users who had not been active on our site. which is a little different than users who don't even have a level. Quite often people come and are trying our program and they decide not to use it or whatever, and they never come back, and there's really no relationship. And I don't know the time frame, so that's just going to be personal for you and your site. But that does help clean up your database, getting rid of them. And it must be thought out and talked about with your, once again, whoever is in charge of running the site and the membership thing. Do you still want access? Do you want to reach out to them? We do have scripts that will reach out to old members.
History to know that what they held or what subscription they held or any of that. Yeah.
Well, you can. The problem with backing up the database and saving everybody is you can't just restore it without canceling out any new things. So while backing up, we'll keep them. You might want to, if you want to keep them on file, you could export your users also. Like with PMPro, you can export your members. Well, I guess you can export, actually, now that I'm saying that, you can export old members and expired members. Mm-hmm. And then just keep that on hand. Then it's not on your site. And then if for some reason you wanted their email address and phone number.
That is a good workaround.
Yeah. But have a plan. Everybody's plan is going to be different.
Yeah. So going back to auditing members' accounts and everything, one add-on that we have is the membership manager add-on. This does give specific capabilities as a role to typically another member that you want to help with the membership management side of things. So this would give them access to your members list, orders. There's different capabilities within that add-on, but that's something that every year you might want to look at and say, does this person need to have access to the back end of my site? You also can edit this role and create a like a copy of this role to then change the capabilities of it outside of our add-on, which if you do change the capabilities, we do recommend creating that second copy of it, which I have a whole open office hours about already. That's already been done.
Yes.
So I'll find a link and put it in the comments.
You may want this instead of making people admins. If all they're doing is management and you don't want them to do anything in your structure or content, this is perfect.
Yes, absolutely. So that's something like I'm thinking of doing that for like the treasurer of the metal detecting site that I'm building. That way they can have membership management access, but not necessarily have access to the entire admin. But year after year, that treasurer may change. And I want to make sure that as those board member changes, the roles that they actually hold change as well.
Right. Absolutely.
Here is I'm dropping the link for my membership management open office hours that I did 1 year ago, actually. Okay, so what's next? Let's look at our list. We have a whole long list. Okay, did you already talk about spam? I think you did. Spam users?
Oh, no, we did not. So the last thing on the users, if you ever had anybody who went through checkout, but then not like they went to checkout, checked out, but they never paid, they never came back, they never did anything. When you're in your users account, you might see this potential spam checkouts. This is to really help. I mean, there's just bad actors out there who just go and sign up for sites and stuff. And if your site has a very low threshold for logging in, you may get these. You can go here, you can see them, and you can delete them all at the same time. So if you have that, that's what that is. So Walter here, he went to the site, he checked out, he went to Stripe, but he never did anything. He didn't even go back to the site. He hasn't looked at the site. So they're not putting anybody there who's like checking out and changing their mind and still looking. They're putting there people who have never come back to your site, the way I understand it from the developers. So this is nice. You can change your role. Oh, look at this. Send password reset.
Yes, you can. I did. this morning, actually, I sent bulk password resets to 184 people, not for PMPro.
But it's built into WordPress. Why didn't
Yes,
you say that?
you can bulk password reset.
I forgot that was there. Yep.
You also can bulk change roles. So I did that too for all of the members in my site ended up not having a role. And so I bulk made them subscribers.
Excellent.
Saving time.
Good. Yeah. Nice little things. All right. So we're going to go to plugins next.
So yeah, onto optimizations and reducing clutter, cleaning up.
Right.
Fresh start, new year.
So there's a few
add-ons.
Yeah, there's a few camps out there about plugins. Some people say, "Oh, you want as few plugins as possible," which is basically true, but it's not, because if you're using Paid Memberships Pro, we're adding on different things rather than putting everything in our core plugin that not everybody uses. You can add an add-on. So you might have 15 PMPro add-ons, but that's not slowing your site. They're just doing little things along the way. So it's not that having a lot of plugins is bad. Having not needed plugins or good plugins is not good. So if you find that a plugin is no longer supported, that's a red flag that you should get rid of. But right now we're talking about PMPro, Paid Memberships Pro. So we're not going to leave you in the dust. We may have things that are not supported, but that's only because they've now been built into our core plugin. So if I were to look here, we have one called Add Memberships from Admin, which is not really available anymore. Still works. However, we have a better way of adding an admin now since 3.0, so almost 2 years. So you may get a notice that's not needed. I would deactivate, get rid of that. Another one, which if you've updated your site was deactivated, is called Recurring Email Add-on. It used to be that if you had people with subscriptions, recurring payments, if you wanted to remind them that they were going to had to pay, you had to have an add-on to do that. But now we have that built in. So it will have been deactivated. You never will need it again. Just delete it. You don't need it. So you just want to do a little audit of your plugins. See the of course, this goes without saying that plugins should be up to date. We did have a customer write in, and really he's doing everything great, but he did mention before he updates, he actually reads the change log. And usually, I wish I had an update needed here. When it does say this plugin's going to update, there is a link to go to the change log, and you could read what we've changed or what we've updated and see if it might have an effect on any customizations you've added to your site. And
I have a site that has updates needed.
Do you see the link for I should really keep this bookmarked, because even I use the change logs, because some logs. So every time there's an update from a small one to a big one, it's documented. We have a post about it, but there's this nice long list of all the changes. And you can see our recent update from last week added a few things. It added a variable for email. It added something to help with subscriptions, but then it fixed these 2 bugs. Maybe enhancement, because I don't think this is a bug. This one, discount codes would expire like 12 a.m. in the morning. Right. So if you so now they just made it where it expires 11:59 p.m. that day. That's a nice little thing. And then this was something that was a little broken for some people. So this is why it's important to definitely have Paid Memberships Pro updated. But if you do have a lot of customizations, you want to review when it doesn't have a 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So here we have 3.6 was our last major update. So our next major update will be 3.7. But in between, we've got 1, 2, 3. Those are usually smaller, security and bug focused. So
yeah, anyway, I'm going to swap screens real quick. You can leave it.
To show you.
Share. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to share I actually have 4 plugins that need updating on this site. This is my Sam's Must Love Dogs demo site. But you can view the version, details, or update now. And so if you view the details, it does. Oh, it even says it hasn't been tested with my current version of WordPress, which means I probably need to update WordPress too. Or I'm ahead and they haven't tested.
Right.
But this is the change log of the information that's happening.
Yes, I think that's handy and that's useful because people are surprised sometimes. It's like, oh, I had a customization that did that and now it's not working. So that's hand in hand with that. What else did we have under plugins? Did we have anything else to bring up?
No, those are pretty much it.
Yeah, I think we covered that a lot.
We've already talked about roles and capabilities. So
yeah.
Discount codes.
So we have, do I have to share again?
No, I had to stage. There you go.
Sorry, I need a cough button. So if you're using discount codes, I think this would be a good time to just review what you have. After some fun stuff we were doing yesterday, we've realized you don't want to delete discount codes. Discount codes will stay on your users' orders. So if you need to go back and see who's used it or information, it's very helpful. But you may want to go, even on the list, it tells you when they expired. So perhaps you have a new user one and it expired. It's like, I want to extend that because I've handed it out to everybody. You may need to increase uses or even update the price, So now I was giving it to everybody for free, but now they have to pay $5 or something like that. So you can update. So you can use that same coupon, but it can be updated for the new year. Or you can just totally, it's like, I don't want anybody to use it anymore. Give it an expiration date and it won't be valid anymore. So just take an inventory of that.
But don't delete them because if they're on an order, they will disappear from the order and you will have no idea why that person paid that amount of money.
Yeah.
The order will still be there, but the discount code won't be.
On a side note, we do have a code recipe that I like that will add a note box under here. So if you're a site that has a lot of discount codes that you use maybe for individual users or whatever, using that will go there. So I don't know if Sam will find that and put that out there.
I also did a coding with Sam on that one, so let me find it.
I like that one. I just happen to have made sure that was there. Documentation, it's not overrated. I mean, it is so important. You wouldn't believe, like, you go year to year to your site and you look at what you did and you're like, I have no idea why I did that. So having great documentation is so helpful. So, she puts that there. So another thing, if you haven't been using reports and trends, your dashboard includes some basic reports on your memberships and your signups and what's been going on. There's also views and visits, which can be really helpful because some people want to know, like, I have these people signing up. Are they actually using the site? And you can go here under each individual user and you can see how often they've been on your site, if at all. So this one here, Timmy, he hasn't been on the site. He said he was I gave him a free membership. He said he was going to come and he's not even looking at the site. So
Timmy.
I like this to know who's really using your site. But there's other reports, and reports are also something that you can customize. You can have a developer write a custom report for you that would show up here also. Our own site has a lot of custom reports that will do different things that we need for our sales team or for developers, or mostly the sales team. Mostly the sales team. So now the other thing is, you may see if you've been doing testing before you launched, you may still see test users in there. It's recommended before you go live, perhaps, to delete your test users. When you go to delete a user, it will ask you if you want to delete their orders and history. There's also a add-on called Developers Toolkit that has some scripts that are run for you. But that's just a nice clean way, because if things seem a little off, it may be because it's tallying your test data too. So.
All right, and then updating any documentation and internal SOPs. This is especially true if you are a one-man show for your membership right now. It's important that you start the documentation and internal SOPs for when you grow and have more people helping. But if you currently do have more people helping, it's important to keep those SOPs and documentation updated as they go through processes and say, this is better to do it this way, or we're changing the strategy and doing it this way. And I mean, internally for PMPro, throughout the entire year, consistently, I am updating SOPs for internal usage. And external, our documentation, I'm constantly updating everything.
So if we ask Sam how to do something, she'll go, it's in the SOP. No, she won't say it like that. She's
I don't say it like that.
but
she
I
will send you the link to the SOP.
Yes, right. And I have many sites that I've built for people and I've turned over and I said, it's in the documentation. I personally have put the documentation on the front page in the dashboard. There's little scripts that they can click on and get there if they forget the link or they don't know. The other thing, I mean, not to be morbid, but I have an association I work with, and the president passed away a year and a half ago, and she had a lot of our stuff that I am untangling now to get access to, domain-wise. So you want to have an SOP. You want to have information. You want to have a plan. Did I bring it down?
I think that one is really like update that throughout the year. Don't wait once a year to do that one. But I mean, it's a good cleanup if you're only going to do it once a year. Yeah.
Sometimes you only have to do it once, Yeah. But you don't want to lose access to your site. You don't want to lose access to your email.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of once a year, one thing that does only have to happen once a year is our next point of your copyright footer.
Yes. Now, I don't have one on mine. Okay. Most themes.
The main PMPro site. I have one.
Oh, okay. I know their address. Most themes are inserting this. Where is it?
Remove
under here?
The banner.
Ah, there we go. You'll find most themes are inserting this and it's dynamic, but I have seen themes that aren't. Sometimes because they're using a different, like they write like when they started. So from 2006 to 2026 but yeah, make sure your footer's updated. Somebody in the team suggested that. I was like, oh yeah. I was looking at some time zone settings for some users. Make sure your time zones are correct.
Yes, I think, and time zones can create some different weird issues here and there. So it is important to make sure your time zones are correct.
Yes. So I'm in Pennsylvania, so I tend to choose New York because it's easier, but you can do it by UTC, any place else. But now I think I'm going to lose New York. This also, if you're showing dates on your site, that's there. This is a forgotten thing. But that's one. So that was a little one. Okay. I think the next ones are going to be good.
Yeah, next
we're going to talk about time.
Revenue.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
we're only 40 minutes. We're good.
We have 20 more minutes to talk about revenue and access. So this is really about how to make sure that you're still getting paid, because that's our number one goal, is to get you paid. And then also ensuring that your members are able to access what they're supposed to access, or if they're not supposed to access something, restricting it.
Right. Right.
So the first one is your membership levels.
So I'm going to, if you're reviewing your levels, I've noticed a number of people increasing prices. New Year seems like a great time to do that. Whatever you change on your level. So I have a writer level, which is a recurring payment. If I were to go change this, so this year for the new year, we're going to charge them more to write to our sites, $30. This is only going to change new signups, which is fine, because I think it's nice to grandfather people in if they've been with you for a while. I have a level here that people only check out for once a year, and they have to, it's not recurring. I may change that. So you want to just make sure your prices are reflecting that. If you feel this is not going to change active subscriptions. So I already have 4 people who have active subscriptions who are paying $25 a year. I'm just personally, if you can, I'd grandfather them in. It encourages them to stay. So it's like, oh, if I leave and come back, I'm going to be charged $5 more or whatever. Also, it's simpler. If you feel like you really have to change it, that needs to be done at your gateway, and that's a whole other talk. But you can review this, and you can see what's going on there. But then it's a really good thing this time of year also to check what your users are seeing when they check out. So we're gonna, I'm gonna log out. How about that?
Emily is asking if there's a way to change active subscriptions. There is. It is a manual process, and it is a little bit involved, but you can do it. I will post a blog post on how to do that.
You have to do it. Oh, the manual one?
Where you have to go into Stripe or PayPal and update
you have to do it at the gateway. You have to do it at the gateway. Another thing, there's a whole lot of things. You can expire people and have them check out again. Yeah, once again, that's a whole other thing. So I'm just going to make sure my experience is what I want it to be. Now, if your site is already, I know where I'm going. Become a member. So here's my writer, $30 a year. Now, because I'm in test mode, I could just test it, click everything. Company fields required. Big company. And that's what I want them to see. But you may see from some updates that something has changed, that something is askew. So it's always good to go into your site as a user and take a look and make sure what is happening, the things are happening. Now, some of you have sites that you're doing this all the time. But if you have a site that's less active or only active certain times a year, you don't want to be surprised. Now, as far as testing, maybe you don't want to check out for a $30 thing because even though you can refund yourself. So what you can do is you can use discount codes just for you. So you could check out for $1. If you check out for free, it's not testing your gateway connection. Because some people do that. Well, it works for free. It's like, oh, but that doesn't have anything to do with your gateway. So if you create a coupon that says $1 subscription, you can walk through and you can do that. So I can see this is working. I can see the users, they're connected to Stripe where they can change their billing information, the next payments next year. I'm happy with that. Their card is looking good. Yay. And then you may also, maybe you haven't had to yet. Wow, you can see my drop down. You can see all my many test sites. If you haven't had to yet, you might take advantage of that test user you've created and see what the experience of a refund is like if you haven't had to do that yet. So I'm going to go to my subscriptions. This person has an active subscription. There's Camilla. Now, how would you refund them? Is that from the order then? Maybe I don't refund members.
Internally is going to be going to the edit member screen of the member that we want to adjust. Okay. And we go to memberships. And then we actually change the membership to a free level, and you can refund right from there.
Oh, really? Wait, I did the wrong thing. What do I want to do? I want to go to change membership.
Yeah.
Change membership, choose level. They're going to be basic now.
Yep.
Oh.
And then we click refund and then keep that as recommended, canceling their subscription.
Wow.
And so that will do everything all at once. You We'll refund them. The subscription will be canceled. They will not be charged again. And it changes their level to free access. That way you still have them in your system.
I thought I had to go to orders. That's fantastic.
Nope. So now that you know how to do refunds, Kim.
No. So we have in here we go. And we can see that their subscription is canceled. We can see their order says refunded.
And another thing that we have in our SOP internally is even though that order says refunded, we always go back to the gateway and just confirm that for sure in the gateway, it says it's been refunded.
So would we go through, would you have to go to the gate? Because now you've locked your connection to the, view subscription. No, that just.
No. So what I always do is copy the subscription ID number.
Oh, well,
that we're given.
Right. And here's get a customer.
Go in Stripe, yeah.
Okay. Had to go in a roundabout way to get to it. This is all test information. You're not going to get anything. There we go. We could see the subscription writer amount. We could see they were refunded their initial payment and their subscription was canceled. Yes. Excellent. Good. So test those, make sure they're working as you expected. Especially if you don't give refunds, it's nice to know how to do it.
Yeah, and with those options on when you do the change membership from the edit member screen, you don't necessarily have to refund them if you just want to cancel their subscription. You can put an expiration date on them. You can also send an email directly from there to the member, letting them know about the change.
Oh, can we? Where I'm going to go to my subscriptions. Yeah, let me go to, so I have Diana and she's going to want a refund. So you're saying
change membership.
Pick
a level.
And then.
Oh, I bet you're outside your refund window for her.
Oh, really? Is there a refund time frame?
Stripe limits it.
Really? Mm-hmm. See, I know I'm learning things. Well, I thought she checked out yesterday.
Oh, so then you should be able to.
Yeah, let me go to subscription. Cancel subscription. You're saying maybe writer. Oh.
I don't know why it's not giving you the option to refund her.
Is that active? Well, that's it. Well, see, these are the things you want to work out. These are the things you want to test and get information. The first one worked fantastically. And you can always cancel subscriptions, edit customer in Stripe. So test all those things. Because also a lot of these have changed in the last year and a half.
I mean, the subscriptions table is relatively new.
Yeah, we never had that. If you wanted to do this, you had to go in the database. This is fantastic. And it's only getting better and it's only offering you more options. Orders, doing things directly from orders is fantastic. Okay, come on, Kim. There's the order. Because now you can see the full order. You can edit it. You can send a copy to your user. You have, this is just within the year, right? This was totally new.
The view order versus editing your order directly is within probably the last 3-4 months, unless I'm time hopping in my head, which is totally possible.
Right. So that process would have changed for you. Maybe we're going on too much about this. I don't know if anybody cares, but sometimes I like
Emily was saying, can we look at why it didn't work? And I would normally say yes, but we do have some other things that we want to talk about for the yearly cleanup. But it also could very well be something that has to do with the testing setup rather than it being live. So
I might be connected to a different, though usually we'll tell you if you're connected, because I created a new Stripe connection. I'm in a sandbox now rather than I'm finally jumped from test mode to sandbox. So I could have screwed something.
It could be something with the way the testing stuff works and that switch for sure. But I don't want to spend too much time troubleshooting the
Right. But I
the
think
refund.
you can also go to the orders and
You can go to the order, yeah.
and you can delete. Oh, I thought you could cancel right from here. Okay.
If the gateway gives you the option to, there would be a button in that area that you were just in.
But okay. Yeah. Well, we're learning things every day.
Yes, always learning.
Sorry about that. Okay, what was our other thing?
Okay, so we kind of talked about the subscription table, but there you can also see, I don't think you have any, but if there could be occasional where the status of the subscription is error. That's usually like a failed payment. So you could do some outreach on those people who are currently have failed payments in your subscription list. And then in your orders table, you also might see orders that are token, and you might want to reach out to them because they abandoned the cart and say, hey, do you want to finish checking out for your membership? You might see pending orders if you do pay by check. I know a lot of clubs like to have the dues due in January. And so at the December and January meetings, you might be collecting a lot of cash and checks. And you need to go in and manually mark those orders as paid if you have collected those, which I don't think you have any in your orders table.
But I did something here. I should have done this before. So this user, Diana Chambers, even though she had a subscription, but I changed it to a different level. So her subscription ended. She was writer. So, but she's still active. She still has that active one. So what you want to do is I want to apply that subscription to, so a subscription is tied to a level, but you can actually move it. So this was the writer one. This user does not have the membership level this subscription's for. So I would edit subscription, and then I would change it to group leader, which is what I gave her. And now when I go to subscriptions, I don't see that error anymore. So that's something if you want to keep the subscription active, but you've changed the membership level, you need to tie that subscription to that level so you don't get that error.
Yeah. And then can you go to your orders table? Do you have any things that are like token or pending? Any kind of weird?
I have a token.
You have a token order. So that's going to be someone who who started checkout but did not complete checkout.
Right. And then if it's token, what does it say? If it's pay by check, it says pending.
Pending.
So I can reach out to them, of course. And it's, of course, nobody I want to talk to. Sorry about that. So I don't have anything. The thing about the token, let's go back to...
Our abandoned cart add-on is great for token orders because you can automatically send emails at certain intervals to the people who may have abandoned checkout, which would create that token order.
I think they're canceled already. Some tokens you can reach out to the subscription again. So let me go to the subscription table. When you're on the subscription table, and here's the actual subscription for this person. If something changed, if I changed it in Stripe, so say I did increase her to 30, I can hit sync with Gateway. And this is good. So if somebody had said somebody paid, but it didn't. So once they get that fixed, where Stripe is talking to their site, you can then sync it, and then it'll update the next payment date. So say for some reason their next payment date was January 14th this year, but the order didn't go through the webhooks. So we fix the webhooks. Now we can click there. They have paid the 14th. I click sync with Gateway. Now it's going to say next payment date is February 14th. So syncing with the Gateway can be helpful if things have happened at the Gateway and you've lost a connection. Unfortunately, it will not recreate that order. You'll have to do that manually.
Yeah, Emily, the ones that say membership ended likely have had an expiration date, and maybe they missed that they're expiring or have expired emails. So they would have to check out again.
Yeah. Yeah, once a subscription is canceled, I mean, I think I don't work with there might be some way to recreate a subscription, but I think if somebody has canceled a subscription, it's been canceled, the most foolproof way is to have them check out again.
Right. Okay, so next, reviewing renewal emails and expiration emails. Speaking of missing emails.
Yes. So
this is where you can make sure that they're not disabled too.
Yes. So you want to go not to user field. You have templates for all these emails. And if you have some of our add-ons, you have even more. So of course, it says right away if it's enabled or disabled. If you don't want admins to get an email every time an address is changed, you can disable it. Ta-da. And there we go. Check your wording. Make sure if for some reason you have documentation that says 2025 in there, make sure you've updated it. So just give this a visit and review your things. A neat thing that I don't see people use this a lot. There's a header and footer. So those are the things that are always on top and always on the bottom of every email. I have seen people put images up here. So they might put their logo. You need to know a little HTML, but you could choose an image that's on your site. Make sure it's appropriate size or whatever. This is something that ChatGPT can now write for you. And then you can display an image or your site's logo on the top of your emails. So I do a little housekeeping, take a little look at that to see all the features that you have available. The other thing we recommend a lot to people is if you don't have this from another plugin, logging what emails are going in and out. Not in, out. So I use this WP mail logger so I can see oh, good, the order emails are going out. I can see the canceled emails have gone out. I can even view what that user got. This is helpful. Sometimes we'll have people say, oh, email isn't going out. Well, if you put this on, you'll see it is going out, but there's an error and it'll help you troubleshoot. It's also helpful if a user has said, well, you didn't tell me. And then you could see, well, the email did go out. I'm sorry. Maybe it went to your spam, and you can troubleshoot why they're not getting your emails. So I find this very helpful. It's just another troubleshooting step.
And speaking of email troubleshooting, do not be like me. Be patient and do not bang your head against the wall when you can't figure it out, because sometimes it takes an hour for an email to come through.
Yes. In our instant age, when emails take more than a minute, we get antsy. But sometimes, depending on the system you're using.
I spent over an hour last night trying to troubleshoot an email issue where WordPress emails were sending, but my MailPoet emails were not. And then I was doing some changing things, and I ended up making it to where WordPress emails would not send out. And right. I made the problem bigger before I made it smaller.
I do have a question from Gilbert, which kind of pertains to this email thing. So there's one thing, some sites will have definite end dates, like all our users expire January 31st, and they're all getting emails 14 days before. Well, if you have thousands of users, even hundreds of users, that can really be a problem on your email system, because not all website hosts will allow for that. So hopefully you have an email solution. That's one of the problems with having things renew at the same time. This is why I like it throughout the year, but I know some clubs and associations can't. He had asked whether he had to clear a pending. Right now, because we use scheduled events, is that right?
Action
Scheduler. It will send out some, and then it will send some out a little later. Now, whether that in batches. So that is helpful It still may not be sufficient if you're still on just a cheap server that's doesn't provide really let you send very many emails. But the action scheduler should be queuing them. So what you'll find is your members aren't all getting them at noon. They're getting them noon, 12:15, 1 o'clock, 2. It'll spread it throughout the day. So that is helpful. That's one of the nice things about Action Scheduler.
Yeah, I know we're at the top of the hour. We really only have one more point of what you should review for your yearly cleanup. Before we get to that, Donnie has a question. Is there any way to update the checkout email to differentiate between a new member and a renewal member? All of ours say new member, even for members that renew.
In the emails, they say it, you mean? Yes.
In the emails, yes.
Right. I think we do have a post on this.
It feels familiar, but
yeah, I think we have a post on this. This is asked a lot. I have asked about this. There is a way to
start searching, but Donnie, yes, maybe reach out in our contact form too, just
to find out where it is. I know that when you're in your back end as an owner, you can look at the orders and you can see, if they say renew or not. You can see if it's the first time they've paid or not. I don't have anybody who's renewed here because my site isn't. Oh, here we go. Here. So we can tell it's renewal. But yes, the emails right now are the same. We do have a recipe. If we don't have a post for it yet, get in touch with Sam so that if they've renewed, you can send them a alternative email.
Yeah, I'm trying to search for it, but we might have better luck when we're not
under pressure. Yeah,
I'm usually pretty good at finding things, but that one I haven't been asked for very often. So, okay, so our last point for yearly maintenance and just reviewing everything is going to be the access rules. What can each membership level see? What's restricted to not be seen? And I did do a open office hours on, I think it was 28 ways that you can restrict content in PMPro Pro. So this could be quite the task, but you could just at a glance review if you have categories restricted on your membership levels, if it's not set up in the membership levels, if it's set up as a category setting or a tag setting, if individual posts or pages have it, if you know where you've used conditional content using the content visibility block or membership shortcode. There's a lot of different ways.
Right. And
it was a whole open office hours of I think an hour and a half, 2 hours of all the ways you can restrict content.
Right. And we have amazing posts on our site. There's one that you can make all protected posts. Once again, posts. So maybe you have a blog and there's 2 ways of looking at it. Some people like to have the content be free for a week and then it goes behind the wall, but they don't want to have to click the button over again. And then there's other people who it's protected for a month and then it's open to users. So we have scripts that you can add to your site. We have articles on that. There is also, I'm surprised I don't have it installed on this one. So there's our toolkit, developers toolkit, which is part of the standard plan. And it'll show up over here in your, so if you've added a new level, this is really helpful. So say you've added, so you have a monthly membership and now you've added a yearly membership. So that's level 4, level 5. You don't have to go to your pages or posts to now check 5. You can copy restrictions. Now, once again, this only applies to pages and posts. It does not apply to visibility blocks. So every post or page that is restricted for level 4, now make it restricted for level 5. You just click the button, run the script, and now those will get checked. So that's a nice little
I did not know that was in there.
Oh yeah, no, that's a nice one. I did find out today though it doesn't work for the visibility block. So
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. they're stored in totally different things. There's a lot of little tools here. Here are those scripts I talked about for cleaning up. Once again, it's always recommended to back up before you do any of these. But if you've been using test data, you can delete all the test data. You can reset the membership levels. You can change everybody. So everybody, say you're getting rid of level 4 and now it's going to be level 5. You can change that. You can assign a level to everybody who doesn't have a level. You can give them an expiration date. Now, these are really fun. And then you can cancel everybody.
Fun, but dangerous. So make
dangerous,
sure you read
yes.
and know what you're doing.
Yes, that's why we just don't give it away. Because
yeah.
But there you go.
Awesome.
We did it in an hour.
That is all of the different ways that you need to just kind of, hopefully more than once a year, but definitely on that yearly basis, just check your site, both general WordPress health, PMPro health, and keep that site a beautiful flower, like Kim said.
Yes, beautiful.
Before we sign off, a couple events that we have coming up. On Tuesday the 20th at 9:30 a.m., we will be hosting a community co-working. My brain broke for that second on that one. That is only for the members that are in our Slack community. The only way to join that Google Meet link is to be in the Slack community because it is restricted to those in there. And then we will be having a Coding with Sam on the 23rd at 9 a.m. Eastern. That is a great place to learn how you can just add a little bit of custom code to your site. If I can do it live on YouTube with barely any coffee, you can do it on your membership site too. And then the 29th at 11 a.m. Eastern, I will be back for an open office hours with Andrew Lima, and we're going to be talking about translations and having PMPro in your language. So that's going to cover how we handle our translations and also how you can contribute to translations, which is really important, especially if you are multilingual. We always want help with translating our plugin and our add-ons and all the things.
You don't want AI translating everything.
No. I mean, it does a decent job, but it's so much better if the human does it. Yes,
you get native speech. I'll be watching that one because translations are.
Sensible Senko is asking if there's a fact sheet available for this open office hours.
There will be.
Currently, there is not. However,
because we changed.
I am going to be doing a blog post with a lead magnet. That way you do have a kind of like a checklist that you can go through and save as always.
Right. So we should leave some, and on that checklist, we should leave some blank lines to add your own.
You can add your own, yes.
Because once again, this is things that I have found useful. You have found useful. There's going to be people who have programmers who have way more deeper things, but this is the general everyday person's.
I don't have an ETA on when that's going to be out, but I do have some writing resources in my back pocket that we'll be using, and so hopefully it will appear pretty quickly, but we'll find out. So, all right. Well, with that, thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for a video from Kim Coleman.
I hope you got some value out of what you just watched. If you're serious about building a profitable membership site, the fastest way to launch or scale is with a premium plan at paidmembershipspro.com. We've made it as affordable as possible to get started, and most people who upgrade stick with us for years. Why? Because they're making money, and we keep delivering expert support, premium add-ons, and a private community of over 1,000 creators building businesses just like yours. Click the link to compare plans or keep learning. We'll see you in the next video.